Oh, well, everybody know who I want next. I want Terrence Crawford next.
You're going to make that happen?
Huh?
You're going to make that happen?
Oh, definitely. That's the fight that I want. That's the fight everybody else want. Like I said, I'm going to get these straps that I'm going to go over there and take his shit too.
All right. Errol, congratulations. Terrific fight this evening.
Thank you, man. Down. Strap season. Y'all know what time it is, baby. Terrence, I'm coming for that motherfucking belt.
All right.
I'm not catching fades anymore. Gotta keep my hands clean when they come for the board. Keep it smooth like a dawn, making moves in the dark. Cause I learned how to swim in the pool full of sharks. Now they coaches, cause they can't read all his motions. How the kid never switch codes, but he code switch focus. Staring down your team with a frozen, ice cold look that could end the summer solstice. Cause I'm more like the top dog. Keep on running game and the gang will accost y'all. I be calling plays from a plane while I'm off court. But we ain't the same, you a lame, I'm a mob star. Actually, I'm a top dog on a stat sheet. Off court, but I call plays for the athlete. Laughing when the cop cars try to catch me. Cause I rolled off in a taxi. Put my feet up, I'm relaxing. Singing Figaro with no accent. While I pour strings from the streets in. Do it all with a straight face, I'm the kingpin. Top dog, top flow, boss mode. I'm the kingpin. Showstopper, top dog, God vibes. I'm the kingpin. They know I'm a dog and a beast, man. Yeah, I keep the peace with a peace, man. I ain't got no time for appeasement. Why would I respond to a pawn? I'm the... Hold up.
If I let my dogs off the leash, they you might want to get out of Dodge by the evening. Honestly, think it's not the blood and the beat, and they don't leave anything behind at the evening.
I can see you soft, ever thought about retreating. If you never have, then they'll give you a reason. Better watch your tone, lose your bass when you speaking. Underneath the mask is the wrath of a beast. When you learn how to smile in their face, then go cutthroat. Then they wanna call you a con when the blood cold. I remember starving while y'all had a truckload. Now I'm with the mob with the call and the gusto. I'm a top dog on a stat sheet. Off court, but I call plays for the athlete. Laughing when the cop cars try to catch me. Cause I rolled off in a taxi. Put my feet up, I'm relaxing. Singing Figaro with no accent. While I pour strings from the streets in. Do it all with a straight face, I'm the kingpin. Top dog, top flow, boss mode. I'm the kingpin. Showstopper, top dog, God vibes. I'm the kingpin.
What's happening? Yes, sir. Just had a great fight. You know what I'm saying? But, man, did it end on a strange note? You know what I'm saying? I'm here. We're here to wrap up, you know what I'm saying, what we saw. A lot of mixed messages out there. A lot of mixed messages out there. You know what I'm saying? I hope everybody can hear me. Can you hear me? So let's get some people up in here, you know. I mean, because I think, man, most people are proud. You know, they're proud of Abdullah Mason for what he was able to do, and what he was able to achieve. We, you know what I'm saying, we actually saw, like, you know what I'm saying, a young fighter, you know what I'm saying, show us another side of his abilities, man. Because, you know, he seemed like he's so innocent, man. It's like you just didn't think he had that kind of dog in him, bro. You know, you just didn't think he had that kind of dog in him. And it's just like, man, he like really surprised me. You know, but even though I think he was going to win eventually, we got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about the refs. We got to talk about what we saw at the end, you know what I'm saying? Because we saw a lot of top-ranked fighters last night. Didn't perform that well, but yet they was able to come out on top, you know. They were still able to, you know, get the win. So, you know, it's almost as if, you know, they closed ranks and they was able to save a few of their fighters. You know, you have to excuse me. I'm trying to do a few things at the same time here. Let's see. All right. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, can y'all guys hear me? What's going on, bro? Let me get my head in the game. Cash Crypto in the what's going on, bro? Let's see. I'm back in. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. So now.
Can you hear me now? I had to switch computers. Can you hear me now? Okay, look like I can see my voice thing reverberating. Yeah, man. So, man, when I say, man, Abdullah Mason, man, you could tell he's going to be one of them ones because, you know, he's going to be one of them ones, man, because, man, let me tell you something. The dude is a warrior, man. I mean, the way he just kind of focused in, and it kind of reminded you of like that Terrence Crawford, like when he's behind, and you know what I'm saying, in that fight when he was with Porter and other fights, and with Kell Brook, you know what I'm saying, he figured out that he was behind, and he had to turn it up to another level, and that's kind of like a special thing. That's something you don't see in every fighter every day, right? That's what makes him so special, because you know if he's able to turn up the athletic ability and the skills and the fortitude like that, that's an exciting fighter to watch. Because man, he was at first, you know, he was just trying to figure out Albert Bell, who was highly skilled. I mean, you can't take nothing away from Albert Bell, bro. You could tell that he's a problem, you know, because the first 6 rounds of that fight, Albert was just cooling out, man. He was just like catching, he was just counter punching Mason. It was beautiful, bro. It was a beautiful display of skills and just, you know, just using his dimensions, you know what I'm saying, to keep Mason, you know what I'm saying, out the way. And Mason was, you could tell he was trying to figure it out, but he was losing rounds, you know. And I was like, man, this is kind of ugly, bro. Is this how he gonna lose his title? Right? You know what I'm saying? Because every time Mason would stoop down and come in, it looked like he was making rookie mistakes by, you know, trying to come in that front door the way he was. And I was like, man, I was just trying to imagine myself, how was he going to be able to get in on this guy? This guy was too good. He was reacting, he was accurate, and you know, I was waiting to see Mason start to bust up, and I could see where he did kind of get, you know, he did kind of get frustrated, you know what I'm saying? But something happened, right? Like round the 6th round, after the 6th round, you know, I seen the corner. I had my volume off so, you know, I don't be influenced and stuff. But I could see them talking to him. It was kind of animated over there in the corner with a Mason team, and they were like really pumping him up. I could see that. But man, when he came back out in that 7th round, bro, I mean, he was different, bro. I mean, you could just see he was just more determined. It was almost like, you know, a desperation, but yet he still stayed in control, you know, and that's another sign. That's something I wanted to talk about. That's another sign that that dude is different, bro. He wasn't like he had more of a sense of urgency, but yet he still stayed under control, right? He wasn't just running into crazy shots. As a matter of fact, he was a better version of himself in the first 6 rounds. And I was like, wow, this dude here is special, bro. He's special, you know. And he still, like, you know, took moments to analyze how he was gonna go in there. Yeah, he stayed very poised, man. I was like, I was in there, I was just, man, I was falling apart. I said, bro, you're gonna have to pick it up. But yeah, he had to stay in control, and he couldn't get hit with something to get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? So, and I like the defense that he had going forward when he was under this pressure. And then he was just kind of got low. Remember how low he got, and the way he had his hands, almost like he was leaning to the side over like a half Philly shell or something. But he had his hands. It was interesting, you know. But he was still, with his athletic ability, he was able to step in. You know what I'm saying? Take the initial shot and go in and give his body shots. I say, brilliant, bro. This kid, not everybody can do that, man. Not everybody can do that. What he did, what he faced, and how he solved the puzzle, you know, and he just put on crazy pressure, bro. You know, put his head down, you know what I'm saying, bit on his gum shield, and went in there and just started whacking at Albert Bell's body. Now, the crazy thing is, Albert Bell looked so damn poised. He looked so damn poised, man, when he was getting hit at first, you know what I'm saying, with these shots. It just looked like nothing was phasing him. Then I would say, you know what I'm saying, around that 8th and 9th round, you could kind of see he didn't like them body shots. You know what I'm saying? He didn't, you know what I'm saying? Because Mason was doubling, tripling up on body shots, bro. And, you know, he was getting in, you know, some of them got blocked, you know what I'm saying? And I thought that was going to be, you know, that was going to be the thing. I thought Albert was going to, you know, saying return fire, but he started getting less. He started throwing less and less. I said, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? You start seeing him kind of like move a little bit more. You start to see him really bothered by them body shots, bro. And I said, man, that was the beginning of the end of Albert Bell, bro. And, you know what I'm saying, we could contribute that to a few things, you know, getting a 2 weeks notice, you know what I'm saying, not having a full camp against, you know what I'm saying, a fully active young champion, you know, that was, I think he just really didn't have, you know what I'm saying, the stamina, you know what I'm saying, from lack of training. And I don't want to take nothing from Mason, but I think they knew what they were doing, you know, just to keep it real. And, you know, of course, Albert accepted the fight. You know, he accepted the fight. I mean, we have to put the onus on where it is. He accepted the fight. He knew he only had 2 weeks to train, but it was his only shot. You know, 33 years old. I'm pretty sure they offered him some money, you know what I'm saying, to get in there and take the risk. But I do believe, and I want y'all to look at this. If he was able, if your boy was able to have a full camp, what would have happened in that fight? I mean, I want y'all to question yourselves. What would have happened if Albert Bell had a full camp instead of 2 weeks? You know, I mean, I know we can't answer that because that didn't happen. But these are the things that we got to look at. Yeah. I mean, but damn, bro, what if Albert would have had a full camp? You know what I'm saying? Would he have beat Abdullah Mason? And that's what I was afraid of, because, you know, I was always rooting for Abdullah to win. That's one thing I was doing. I was because he's a young champion. I love his family. I love it the way his brothers, you know, they just got a good energy, man. They got a great energy. And then this dude is fearless. You know, he'll fight anybody. You know, I don't see him ducking no smoke in the future. That's why I really like this kid, and I'm glad he won. But at the same time, it's like, you know, Top Rank is the kind of company that sets you up to look good, right? I mean, would they have made that call if Albert had a full camp? Would they still have made the same call for him to fight Abdullah? And, you know, from what I understand, that Abdullah knows this guy, that they've sparred together, they've trained together and stuff, so they're familiar with each other. You know, that's what I'm understanding. You know, so I'm just wondering, you know, in a fair way, you know what I'm saying, would this have turned out the same way if Abbott would have been, you know, had 6 weeks to train, right? Um, but I just think he kind of like lost stamina at the end, and he really couldn't do anything because Abdullah, looked like he just had superior stamina, looked like he had superior strength. He was a stronger fighter at the end. Man, he was like really giving it to Ababel, man, and I felt bad for him, man. It's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Because from one moment he looked like he was the dominant one, and then all of a sudden, boom, round 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you know what I'm saying? Your boy just took over. He just took over, you know. So, and then the ref, you know, not giving him a, you know, the first knockdown you could say is legit. It was pretty legit, you know. But that second shit, that was that was some, I don't know, that was some top rank bullshit. You know, he didn't get a standing 8 count. He didn't let the man get up on his own. But it is kind of questionable what the ref saw from his point of view. You know, what was it? You know what I'm saying? Did he see? You know, what was it? I mean, was he glossy eyed, or it just looked like he wasn't there? I don't know. I don't know. I went back and watched it, and I still think they should have gave him a chance to try to get up. You know, I thought he should have. I thought he should have got a standing 8 count or something, and then just have Abdullah Mason come back over there, and you know, give him the finishing touches, right? Uh, but my man, he did look hurt. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, he did look hurt, but I don't know if that's enough to you know, make that stoppage. You know what I'm saying? Make that kind of decision to call it off. So, you know, I came back on today to see how people felt about that. You know, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I know a lot of people who are Abdullah Mason fans, they want to just move on. They just want to move on from it. You know, they don't really want to, because, you know, most people wanted Abdullah Mason to win, right? But when you see a stoppage like that, you know what I'm saying, that kind of shit can affect boxing in the future and whatever fights, you know, especially if you're talking about a top ranked Kako. We saw Tiger Johnson and stuff, you know what I'm saying? He was looking bad. You know, you saw shoot looking bad, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we seen some of the top fighters at top rank, you know, almost get gift decisions, bro. And, you know, of course, everybody know that when you fighting on top rank, you know, they're going to take care of their fighters, right? If they look bad or not, you know, top rank, they're going to set you up so you can't lose, you know. And, you know, Albert Bell, you know, saying he was in a position with them years ago when he signed with them in 2018. He was winning like, you know, 28. He was like winning straight fights. So, you know, it takes more than just winning at top rank. You know what I'm saying? You got to, like, you know, really become a star, right? And sometimes, like with Cotto, like with Floyd Mayweather, you know, you got to leave top rank, you know what I'm saying, to become a star. You can't overstay your welcome. I thought Bud Crawford overstayed his welcome at top rank. And I thought he could have been a bigger star back in 2018. He re-signed with top rank. We debate about that shit a lot over here in these boxing spaces, but you know, he still ended up, you know what I'm saying, getting what he needed out of boxing. So, you know what I'm saying, you can't really say he made the wrong move when the man is sitting on, you know what I'm saying, millions and millions of dollars. He got the Cotto fight. So, you know what I'm saying, I'm just looking back, hindsight 2020, what we wanted back then in 2018. So you don't want to see the same thing. You don't want to see the same thing end up for Abdullah Mason, right? For him to be at top rank too long, you know, and not really get the fights. But see, now we're under a new generation, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to the zone, make deals. Everybody's under Turk al-Sheikh, you know what I'm saying, to be able to make fights, and cross-promotional deals and stuff like that. So the fights that, you know, companies couldn't make in the past, they can make it now, you know what I'm saying, by appealing to, you know, a trillionaire, right, to get these fights. And so it's a whole different era, you know what I'm saying, because we got another guy in the game. So what I want to see from Abdullah Mason, you know what I'm saying, I want to see him unify with Raymond Matala. I think he'll beat Raymond Matala, but I think that'll be another banger. Because he's still so young, bro. He still got enough. Yeah, Jamel Herring, yeah. That guy. I think he's an interim champion though, because you got Lamont Peterson and you got William Zepeda that are fighting for that super title. What is it? The WBC title? I think that's the WBC. Yeah, I think so. That they're fighting for. When they should have just elevated Jameer Herring, so they should have elevated him. But they I guess they got their picks. Saying they want Lamont Roach and William Zepeda to fight for that belt. Saying it's going to be interesting to see if they skip over Herring again. There's a lot of corruption going on because Albert Bell was one. He was skipped over for the WBO to fight Navarrete, to fight Emmanuel Navarrete. He was skipped over by the WBO. So there's a lot of insane politics. So when people be talking about these fighters are ducking, shit, a lot of the sanctioning bodies duck for them. Just to protect their fighters if they think the fighter that they get behind is going to lose to a certain guy, they will skip over your ass, bro. They will do that. He says Raymond Wash, Andy Cruz. Watch out. He says you who you picked there, Pool. He said he's very good. Yeah, he beat Andy Cruz. But I think Abdullah Mason. And I'm not saying, cause I mean he's a very good boxer. Andy Cruz don't have no power though, bro. I think this kid, you just saw him turn up. You just saw him turn up to a whole nother level. So Mason and Raymond Montalive or whatever how you say his name, that's a hell of a fight. Saying to be unifying. And then I think this fight here with Bill was good education for him. Like I said, it was a good education for him. He had to dig deep. He had to go to places, that he never, had to go before. And it's where you could say with that Sam Nook fight, man, that was a good one too. So I'm just looking at it like it's forging a really great champion. The more adversity he goes through, I think the more mentally tough he's going to be, and he's going to be able to beat the Raymond Martellas, or however you say his name, Montella. He's going to be able to face those guys, with ease, and then by the time I don't think the Shakur Stevensons are going to want to face him because of all the experience that he's getting right now. He's going to be, mentally invincible. He's going to be physically invincible. If he keep on, going and getting these good fights, that's making his boxing IQ, grow. Mason is going to be a special fighter. He's already, I consider him a special fighter already, just because of, the fights that he's overcame. So the boy is constantly being groomed to be a winner in the game. So the only thing I didn't like about it was just the stoppage at the end, because it looked like Bell was just, he was protesting, and he didn't like it, and I guess no fighter likes it when they get counted out, but he just waved the fight off since he didn't get an opportunity, to fall down, get up, or go left or go right. He didn't get an opportunity for that. So that's the only criticism I have of it, because I was so happy that Mason had won, but I had to look at that thing. I had to look at it and say, man, let me like really be objective. And if I was Bell, it just feels like Top Rank had done screwed him over again. That's what it feels like. It feels like Top Rank got over on him, again. And, I'm pretty sure he's thinking about, these are people that he know. It's not like it, because I seen how they tap gloves after every exchange and everything. And it's almost like it was an agreement. Like, it's like Bill sold his name or something. Like, like they just found them. It's like, look, man, you ain't doing shit. Once you come on in here and let's just make this money. And it was that kind of energy, like it's a respect thing, because I think they realize how good Bill is. I think Abdullah Mason knows, Albert Bell and how good he is, and that this was kind of like a, hey man, so you're gonna come in here, do the best you can on 2 weeks notice. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that, because where the hell has Albert Bell been? And you see how good he is. So, I think he just kind of sold his name, man. You know, yeah, I'm not saying that Abdullah Mason isn't good or really great, but man, I'm just looking at this man's skill set. I'm just like, if he would have had a full training camp, what the hell he would have done? And he was able to get 6 of the rounds so easy. It wasn't like like he had a hard time getting those 6 rounds, man. No, he went in there and he was picking off Abdullah Mason. And I'm wondering how many people think that, I'm just going to put this out there. Do y'all think Albert Bell took a dive, man? I'm just looking at it now. This is the next day. It's the next day. And, we're beyond the excitement. We're beyond the excitement of everything that went down. Man, that was a dramatic switch up. That was a dramatic switch up. Do anybody think that Albert might have took a dive? You know what I'm saying? And this was like theater. This was more theater than, saying a dramatic comeback, because I'm looking at it now, and I'm looking at the grifter side of it, like, could we have been deceived, and Albert just kind of went along with the script, You think he just ran out of gas? I just want to see some other minds out there, because I don't know, that was a very, it's like, damn, he was just winning so easy, But see, maybe that's the 2 weeks thing, Cash Crypto. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, him to only have it 2 weeks to train, I'm just trying to see if there's anything to it, because don't get me wrong, so y'all know I'm with Abdullah Mason, I'm with his family, but I want him to be real. I want him, I want him to be authentic. I don't want him to be like on some fake shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't want to be on no fake shit. I want him to be the real deal. He says, no, I don't think so, Pull. He says Mason was coming on very strong. Of course, if that's part of the strip, though, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if a man only got two weeks of training, of course he's not going in a 12-round fight. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like it's a strategic thing. Just like when Tank, like, for instance, when Tank bring people down, right? Like he brought Ryan Garcia. He knows Ryan Garcia is going to run out of gas, bro, because he struggled to make the weight. Y'all understand? Y'all see where I'm going with this? He struggled to make the weight. You know what I'm saying? So that's how these fighters be knowing, you know what I'm saying, that they can just go in there. You know what I'm saying? If they make them work, if they push them hard enough, that they're not going to, be able to survive the entire round. So, at some point in time, you got to go for broke, because you're not going to last a full, 12 rounds, because it was hard for you to make that weight. And I think, I know a lot of Tank fans going to be pissed off with me, but that's Tank goes in the fight knowing that. That's why he wants fighters drained. I remember Shakur Stevenson, they caught him, on tape saying he want Devin drained like that, right? And I don't see how we can hear these things and just not be, just disgusted by the way some of these fighters think. If I was a fighter and I wanted to be the best, guess what? I would not want to fight somebody who was not at their best. You see what I'm saying? And, I want to fight a fighter, because, I want to, say if you're going to put somebody in there that's equal skill or above your skill, or it's a 50-50 fight, that's what you want. You don't want somebody to be coming in there that's not fully, fully together. And I know what people are going to say. They say, oh, most fighters are not 100%, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, if a fighter can't make the weight, or he fighting weight taking too much weight off with these rehydration clauses, right? And they're not going to be 100%, or on fight night. You want to fight. The way you get the if you saw Bud face after he beat Bud Crawford, after he beat Spence, he wasn't happy, bro. He didn't celebrate like that, because he already knew what it was, bro. You can't like really enjoy your victory until you fight somebody of equal, health, I want us to get back to that. These fighters, a lot of these fighters don't want fair fights. And I'm just looking at Mason. I hope he don't go down a trajectory where he's trying to catch people off guard. He's not giving them full training camps. I want him to be a fair champion. And I want him to be, everything I think he is, right? And I mean, he seemed like he just got that marketability where, he's just going to be a great young ass lion, you know what I'm saying? And he's going to like take on the challenges just like Jerome Booth is doing right now. He went directly and tried to get the fight with Fundora. Man, I was like, man, you can't ask for nothing no better than that, And I'm not saying like he's the king yet. I'm just saying like I'm looking at the way he moves and I'm impressed. I think Abdullah Mason is going to got some of the same stuff where he just wants the next tough fight. Saying that's what he wants. And that's what I want to see from him. He says, one could say the same thing about guys that get in the ring, a super middleweight fighting at 135 to 140 pool. I mean, if it's the boxing, see, this is my thing. No fighter seems to fight at the same weight class, right? I don't know about gaining no 25. It should be a limit. I do think it should be a limit, but no fighter should, have 25 pounds, 30 pounds over, because now you're not really fighting, you're fighting a middleweight, you're fighting a junior middleweight, I want that they need to like kind of, they need to regulate that, they need to regulate that. I know the IBF, they got like you can't hydrate over 10-pound rule limit, something like that. So some of them got it in place. I do look at that cash crypto, but then again, saying the other fighter can rehydrate too, if you think about it, the other fighter can rehydrate. I mean, I don't know how would that affect the other fighter to be able to rehydrate to what they need to rehydrate to. But a lot of these fighters walk around, they like natural 170 pounds or they like natural 180. I think they said his walk around weight is 190 to 200 pounds. So, you saw he came in on Boots. He was 180 something pounds. What's going on, Shaquem? He was like 180 pounds, but Boots were able to deal with it, right? Nobody said that, Xander was a weight bully. It's only when they come to the lighter weights that, people tend to, they tend to like, concentrate on that kind of stuff, Okay. And I get it. You don't want to fight a junior middleweight, if you're at 135, So, I mean, I do get it, but you can't challenge a welterweight to come down to 135, and think he's gonna be able to function the way he functioned at 147. That's all I'm saying. You want to meet each other. Either the 135 pound is easier to come up than it is to come down. You see what I'm saying? So it'd be easier for Tank to come up to 147 and fight. And I'm not saying he should do that. I'm just saying it's easier for him to come up than for fighters who've outgrown 135 to come down. And that, when they come down, they're going to be weak. Yeah, you can meet in the middle, but still that fighter that have to cut that weight is going to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? What's up? It's going to be a problem for that fighter that has to come down. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, remember when Roy Jones Jr. he cut that, he was 190 pounds when he fought John Ruiz, right? And he didn't want to go all the way up to 200. So he stopped at 190 something, but he was just solid muscle. And he went in there and he outsped Ruiz. He even hurt Ruiz maybe one or two times, not much, but he got some straight shots, with that crazy speed. And then he stripped all that muscle down to come back down to 175. And guess what? He was no good, bro. He was no good, once he stripped all that muscle off, Roy Jones Jr. was never the same after that. He should have never came back. That's what a lot of people say. He says, so he says Sugar Ray Leonard made Lindy came down a whole weight class. Who is that? He says this stuff's been, yeah. You're right. You're right. It's a game. It's a game. It's a game. You know, you play the weight game. You play the weight game, and you know, say, but you got to know who's gonna benefit from it. You know, not too many people gonna be able to fight Tank at 135. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it. Bruce Lee was 135, y'all. I want y'all to think about how small that is. You know, Bruce Lee was 135, and think about how skinny and small he was. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't strong, but look at how little 135 is. You're talking about grown men, you know what I'm saying? And if you think about yourself and how much you weigh, most grown men, if you're like 5'6", or if you're 5'8", man, you haven't worn 135 since you was in elementary school, bro. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be a naturally smaller guy to reach those weights, right? So not everybody's going to be able to fight at 135. So either Tank is going to have to fight those guys like Abdullah Mason, and believe me, I'm pretty sure people are probably pretty nervous about that fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people want to see Tank fight Abdullah Mason, because right now, for one, Tank is really rusty. His mind ain't really into the craft of boxing. You know, not that I'm psychic or nothing, but I'm just looking at the way he's moving in the last few years, and it just seemed like he ain't focused on boxing like that. But I think when Tank focuses on boxing, you know what I'm saying, then he a problem. But right now, Tank is, being out for a year and some change. He ain't gonna be able to beat no Abdullah Mason. He ain't gonna be able to beat, the guys that are active, just because of the activity, So he's gonna have to take him a couple of tune-ups to get back, where he at. That's why, I don't understand why he's trying to challenge Devin. And then they're already talking about not until 2027. It's like, bro, why are you talking shit like that? And you're talking about a whole year away, So it's things like that that kind of aggravates you, because you want to think of Tank as a elite fighter. You know what I'm saying? You want to see him as an elite fighter, right? You want to think of him. But some of these characters just is they just got low character, low vibrational character, right? You know what I mean? It's like, you don't have to keep yourself relevant, man. You know what I'm saying? Because all you have to do is go out there and get yourself a fight. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're the face of boxing. You ain't got nothing to prove to Devin. You don't have to dick ride those guys. You don't have to dick ride Shakur Stevenson. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to just do you are the man. You are the dude. So, to remember that, you know what I'm saying? So you don't be looking like Keyshawn them, who's out here clout chasing, and some of the Richard Hitchison and some of these other guys who really don't have a resume like that. He said, Cash Crypto says, I want to see all the fights. He said, if he dies, he dies. That's messed up. But I want to see, I don't want to see him get messed up. I just want to see all of them mix it up and see how these styles mix up. But the problem is nobody wants either of their favorite fighters to have an advantage. Well, they want their favorite fighter to have an advantage, and they want the fighter that they don't like to be at a disadvantage. So that's the problem. Devin can't fight no Tank, bro. Now I think Tank said he was willing to come up to 144. That tells me a lot about Tank. If you're willing to come up to 144 to fight Tank, why not just come up to 144, my nigga? You know what I'm saying? It's like we already seen you fight Marius Barrios at 140, which was a good fight. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of cool to see Tank chop down a big guy like that. But Marius Barrios ain't no Devin Haney. He ain't no Shakur Stevenson. He ain't somebody who, going to give Tank more of a challenge, So we're still fighting these fantasy fights inside of our heads, you know what I'm saying? And after all these years, and people are tired of it, man. People are ready to move on to the next batch, but look like a lot of the next batch ain't the dough ain't ready, I mean, I thought Tiger Johnson, because I followed him in the Olympics in 2020, and I thought he was going to be, saying that next dude, man. But man, just to see the mental lapses in his fight, and nobody even knows who this this Guerrero guy is, and this Guerrero guy was like really getting inside of Tiger Johnson's head, and he's from Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. So I was just kind of disappointed, but at the end, I saw Tiger Johnson like start to warm up and start to, I don't know what these dudes be doing, but definitely boxing ain't first, because I'm looking at their skills and I'm saying, man, if he could just be consistent with his skills, he'll be the man. But I think they just get wrapped up into other things, and you can see flashes of the talent and stuff like that. But unfortunately, Tiger Johnson, man, he just mentally, you can say when he start talking, he's an emotional wreck. He can't regulate his emotions. And I mean, I followed him big time as a rookie. And I really thought he was going to pan out, to be one of the next one. Yes. Hitcherson did duck Oscar Duarte. That's why I don't even like that dude, bro, because he always talking shit about Devin and other people that's done better than him. You know what I'm saying? And he just wants attention. And one thing I hate about this generation is that they love attention. They got to have, they got to have attention. Everybody is an attention whore. I know for some things they need it. I'm talking about fighters, but they don't have to do all this talking on Twitter. I mean, like I think Devin was saying that Tank is more of a Twitter warrior than he is a fighter in the ring. You know what I'm saying? So, I thought that hit hard. And they just need to fight more than maybe twice a year. We could deal with that. But as far as Abdullah Mason go, man, I just want to see him continue being what we think he is, right? If he could go ahead and unify, man, that'd be awesome. I want to see him become undisputed. I want to see him become undisputed at 135. I mean, I think he would have blew out Joe Cordina. I mean, if he would have made it, that would have been the worst mistake of his life. Coming over here to America to fight that boy, because that boy's a heart attack. I've seen Joe Cordina fight. I don't think he could have fought with Abdullah Mason, in any stretch of the imagination, So, I said, well, I know people want to like come on and talk about this thing at the end, looking at how the stoppage was. And I mean, I was looking at Abdullah Mason's face, and I was just trying to figure out, like, he was pumped, but it was like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, I think he did jump on the rope, but it was something off about it. I don't know if it's because that was a friend of his and they were kind of cool or whatever. I don't know if that's what it was. And then it was just kind of sad looking at Albert Bell's face. He just looked disappointed. His corner, embraced him. His nose was all, busted up. I think Abdullah Mason busted his nose up. It was just a sad, like, it's like watching a old veteran just retire. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? And Mason, he just wasn't, maybe he was looking over there to see about his friend, Maybe it's like, damn, man, I had to do that to him, man. Sorry, I had to do that shit to him. I had to do this to you, bro. Man, you was in my way, But these young guys, I mean, they ruthless, man. If you get in their way, and you the old guard, they got to do what they got to do, And I mean, I don't hate it, but it shows that he has a maturity that, that he's kind of ruthless. To be a fighter, you're going to have a ruthless streak in you. And he showed that he got that. And boy, when I tell you, they was impressed, Sean Porter, Bud Crawford, I think Bud was kind of like, tripping about the stoppage. He thought it should have, he thought the man should have had an opportunity. I think the rest of them just gave it like it's a foregone conclusion that he was going to lose anyway. Once he got dropped, that was interesting. The way he showed me some shit. Like Abdullah Mason showed me some shit. Like when he framed his head up and then gave him an uppercut, I was like, damn. I was like, bro, he was just holding that shit back. He was definitely going to win this fight, like no matter what. and just to see another level to him, you know what I'm saying, just adds more to his legend. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm watching a legend. You know what I'm saying? When you watch Abdullah Mason, I don't know if it's just the afro. It's almost like he's a Sugar Ray Robinson. You know, maybe I'm putting, you know, my hopes of watching boxing get back to the violent side, getting back to the aggressive side. Maybe that's what it is, you know what I'm saying? Because he just reminds me of somebody like that, right? You know what I'm saying? His willingness to get in there and mix it up and exchange, even if you get the worst of it. You know, I think that's what's going to make him huge. I think that's what's going to make Jerron Businis huge. And there's going to be a lot of people who like the technical side of it, you know, that's really going to dislike it. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, there's an entertainment side to this boxing thing, right? You know, for all us boxing nerds out here, there's an entertainment side to it, because, I'm the type that I like the technical side and I like the rock'em sock'em. So, I appreciate both. Then I like, the ones that, can do both, and that's rare, to find that in the fighter. When I look at Shakur Stevenson's and the Devin Haney's, I want to see who can win because they both pure boxers, right? That's all I get out of it. It ain't the fact that I hate Shakur. It's just that I want to see the two best boxers, technical boxers box. I want to see the two best bangers bang. Or if you got a boxer, a pure boxer versus a a banger, a fighter, a brawler, I want to see it all mix up, but it's just too many people in too many different camps that don't want this shit to happen, and then they go on their own channels and they make excuses, for why, this guy, why are you such an asshole for wanting this fight? I'm like, bro, I want to see it all, I don't care what, like, if you have to meet at a catch weight, that's cool. That's cool. Let's meet at the catch weight and let's get it done. But we've been waiting way too many years for these guys to get it on. That's all. And you get tired of, why it can't happen. So it's so bad that now we got Abdullah Mason grown. Abdullah Mason was like a little kid back in the day, saying a prospect, saying shit. Soon his brother's gonna be jumping up in there. I hear Abdullah ain't even the best one. I can't even pronounce his little brother name. This nigga got like an Egyptian, Hebrew Israelite name. It's like they say he even better than, they say he fights like Abdullah, but he's better. So that's kind of scary. That's kind of scary that we got him on the way. It's like, but it was a good win. It was an excellent win for him. I give him credit for it, because, he had nothing to do with the referee. Abdullah Mason had nothing to do with the referee. And I do think if Albert would have got up, he would have went right back down. I think Abdullah Mason, it's just that good, man. He's just that powerful. He's got that youthful energy, that, you just can't escape it. Because I was just watching how he was cutting the ring off at the end, I was like, yeah, this kid, he got a lot of game. He got a lot going on, and a lot of deception in his game and stuff, So they really played Bill. Bill thought he had it easy. He relaxed, and that's when he got Falumaloom. He got turned up on, and hey, it is what it is. What I'm saying? But I just wanted to wrap it up. What I'm saying? So, what fight do we have next, and what fight do people want to see next? So I've been thinking about the David Benavidez situation because that's one of my favorite fighters. Who is he going to fight next? What I'm saying? I think he's supposed to be fighting Better Beef. I think he's supposed to be fighting Better Beef. Which I think is an excellent fight because he's been, they were supposed to fight before, but something fell through in the negotiation. So I'm hoping that David can, get that fight and look like Bivol don't really want to mess with David, but I could be wrong, but look like Bivol, he dropped his belt. That was the only way that David Benavidez got his belt, right, was by Bivol dropping the WBC. So, You know, when David gets that fight, you know what I'm saying? I think he's gonna end up becoming undisputed at 175, right? And then he'll have to move on to probably cruiserweight. You know, so it's not a whole lot of competition besides those guys up there. But I want to see David because I like his style, and you know what I'm saying, and the way he fights. You know what I'm saying. So, I mean that'll be a cool development for him. And then it was somebody else. It was David Morrell. He kind of dropped out the picture when he got beat. But that's what it is. Ben Whitaker. That's who's looking for David right now. That goddamn Ben Whitaker. We're gonna have to keep an eye out on that fight because Ben Whitaker, even though he's goofy as hell, the boy can fight. He's an athletic nightmare. Now, can he stand up to David Benavidez? But he got that movement that he might be able to stay out the way. You know, he's probably the one fighter that's probably able. He was in the 2020 Olympics too. So I watched him in the Olympics too. Ben Whitaker, he was doing a lot of goofy shit in there too. So, you know, to be tall as shit and that goofy is crazy. What's going on? He says, checking in for the first time. He says, Arthur Beterbiev defeats David Benavidez, and he says, Bivol a second time. He says, I don't know what these little acronyms mean. He says, ranked #1 by the IBF, WBC, WBA, WBC, WBO. I mean, I don't know, man. You say that with a lot of confidence, you know, that he could beat David, man. I got to see that, man. You know, Beterbiev is old, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's still good. He still has a lot of strength. He's a smart fighter, too. He's not just a bruiser. You know what I'm saying? He knows what he's doing in the ring. And I admire Arthur Beterbiev, but I think the future is David Benavidez, the Mexican monster. I think Bivol knows it. I think those guys have already spent, you know what I'm saying, spent their cachet. They spent their youthful energy right there at 175 against each other. So, I understand what you're saying, that Arthur Beterbiev, you know what I'm saying, is just got the experience. But hell, he's fucking 40 years old, man. He's not going to beat no 29-year-old David Benavidez, bro. David Benavidez is, man, that kid is, people don't give David enough credit, you know. People don't give David Benavidez enough credit, you know what I'm saying, in the ring. They just think he just pushed forward. Man, he's made that style, that pressure style, his own, man. And, you know, either you're going to knock David out or he's going to beat you the hell up, you know what I'm saying? And that's a good style, you know what I'm saying, to, you know, put up, you know, with Arthur Beterbiev, I'll be interested to see if he could stand in front of him, you know what I'm saying, because that's going to be one of them action pass fights, you know, because David don't back down. And if anybody could get David to back down, it would have to be somebody with the strength of Arthur Beterbiev, right? But Arthur Beterbiev can't fuck with David's speed. So he can't really fuck with David's speed, man. He says, I love to see Beterbiev fight David for the WBC and the WBA regular. He said champion. She says, Beterbiev is 41, but a skilled freak of nature. Yeah, it was so skilled that, you know what I'm saying, his test was irregular. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know too many 41-year-olds that can, you know, like really hit and move like Arthur Beterbiev. So he better be careful. You know what I'm saying? He better be careful with that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, at 41, come on, baby. You know what I'm saying? It ain't too many people messing with 29-year-olds out here. You know what I'm saying? I keep telling people on my channel, you know what I'm saying, they got to be careful. Now, Bivol is just more, he's just more skillful, you know. He had back injuries and stuff like that. He had a lot of back issues, you know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure he didn't want to like mess with David because he got a lot of back issues and stuff like that. So he need to recuperate. He need to be at his best if he's going to fight somebody like that. If he's going to fight David, the Mexican monster, he gonna find out if you're healthy, you know, because David's going to hit you about 1,000 punches, right? So Bivol going to have to be able to move in that ring. He can't be worried about his back and his health and stuff. Arthur Beterbiev, you know what I'm saying, he's more of a bruiser. So, you know, he expect to throw down with you. So that's a fight I'm looking for. And that's the fight that's supposed to be next. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully nothing comes in between them two, because they need to like battle that out. You know, this for the supremacy of 175. But right now, David, I do believe he's walking around at the cruiserweight weight. You know what I'm saying? So I think he fought Zurdo, and he just beat. Y'all saw what happened with Zurdo. You know, a lot of people screaming that was a foul. Like David, you know what I'm saying, hit him with his elbow. You know what I'm saying? Well, shit. You know what I'm saying? The big galoons, they fight like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like in boxing. You know, if you can get away with it, that's what they're gonna do. You know, and I'm not just justifying that for David, but these guys are veterans. Ain't nobody up there that's a rookie. You know what I'm saying? So they pretty much know, you know what I'm saying, when somebody's coming for you like that, you know, it's going to be dirty, or they got to make it a dirty fight. They don't have to make it a dirty fight, but, you know, he got a mean streak, you know, and that's why they call that nigga the Mexican monster. You know what I'm saying? But with Better Beef, you know what I'm saying, I don't know if he's going to be able to rough up Better Beef. You know, Better Beef is on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? He's really skilled and he's really smart. You know, but to change the subject, you know, we got an Errol Spence Jr. fight coming up, and everybody know that's my boy right there. You know, I don't know. It's like when Spence come into the scene, he's just so laid back that it's almost like you're taking a pain, not pain, sleeping pill. You know, it's just I don't know. It's just like he off or something, man. It's like he just takes so long to respond to shit, you know. But he's still my boy, though. You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't know if I don't know. No, it's just it's almost like as if you go into slow mode, and that's where he's at. You know, I watched the Champ Side's interview. If you haven't had a chance, go watch the Champ Side interviews where he actually went down to the camp and talked to Errol Spence Jr. And he just, I don't know, you can't tell if he's excited for the fight, you know, because he's always monotone. Just so you know, you're just kind of looking for a sign. Even when he's training, you know, he's not turned up in training. So you kind of like, damn, it's like, hey, you want to get a sense of, is he going to go in there and beat this dude ass? But that's how he always moved, though. You know, he always moved like that. Now, I say the biggest thing he didn't do was shake Tim Tszyu hand. He didn't shake Tim Tszyu hand. So that showed you a little bit of the old EJ, you know, with the attitude and all that stuff. But, you know, we're going to get to see if Ronnie Shields' training, you know, say how it like, you know, how does it like really work with EJ, you know, and with the Charlo boys, it's like all the Texas boys, they need to get back active in the game, because all of them got names to get out there and sell. Because you got Jamal training with Errol Spence Jr., you got Brian Norman Jr. that's training with Ronnie Shields, so he got a pretty good little camp there. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Jamal get back out there. I think Jamal's trying to campaign up at 168. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see him get back. I think he's on Spence card. You know, I think he's on that Tim Tszyu, Errol Spence Jr. card. So that's pretty cool. That's going to be pretty cool to see them all together, you know what I'm saying, work together on that card. But for Tim Tszyu, you know, I was watching him train. I wasn't impressed. You know. I never been impressed by Tim Tszyu. You know, he's not Costa Tszyu. Well, I guess I seen his dad, and I just thought dad was just so skilled, bro. You know, Costa Tszyu, you know, he don't have none of his dad in him. You know, I mean, he looks like him, but he's just a big guy with he's fundamental, but he's just slow. You know, and if he's able to get in there and knock out EJ, man, it's time for EJ to retire. You know, even though the fight is not at 154, the fight is going to be at 159. So, you know, I'm thinking EJ is not even thinking about campaigning at 154. But I think he's trying to campaign at 160, which is still dangerous because you got Laura up there. Then you got, what's his name? Carlos Adames, you know what I'm saying, up at 160. So it's still a little bit, you know, it ain't no, you know, he got some names he could fight at 160 if that's what he's going to do, you know, but we don't know if he's going to retire after this or, you know what I'm saying, we don't know what he's going to do, You know what I'm saying? So I just want to see him back in the ring. I want to see him dominate, and then if he can cut those pounds and get down there and fight some of those guys, and maybe we'll get a boots fight. I mean, that'd be a horrible look. He says, Pool County, what's going on, bro? He said, definitely a bad stoppage. He says, let Bill go out on his shield. And that's how we all, that's what we really want. We want everybody to have a fair chance. They screwed Bill over before, the WBO. When he was the number one contender. I think it was 2022. He was like the number one contender, and he was up under Emmanuel Navarrete. You know what I'm saying? They skipped over him. They skipped over him and had him fight Denny's Benachek, something like that. You know what I'm saying? I can quite remember. I remember the fight, but I can't say the motherfucker name. Benachek. You know what I'm saying? He knocked him out too. And then he went on to unify with Nunes, right? That was dirty. That was dirty. He just didn't have the connection. But when you're independent like that, that's what happens to you. You got to get with some big promoters to be able to get them titles. He says Errol Spence Jr. has the right style to defeat Tim Tszyu. He said regardless of Errol Spence Jr. seeing shot worn. Yeah, I mean I can see what you're saying. He says Jamel Charlo and Spence are coming out victorious, and Jamal Charlo and Spence are coming out victorious. He said you made some valid points. Yeah, once you get to that side of it, he only lost one fight. And so that's not too much wear and tear. I mean, yes, he lost bad, but it almost seems like the game is now like to have a really special career for a short time and get out with your senses, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm saying because Spence had some violent fights. You know what I'm saying? When he fought Kell Brook, man, that fight, I must have watched that fight about 40 or 50 times, probably more than that, because I had to try to break it down to what I was looking at. And I mean, that was a violent ass fight, when he fought Sean Porter, that was a violent ass fight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shit, when he fought Ugas, that was a violent ass fight. So, Floyd Mayweather always tried to warn Spence that he can't just bulldoze everybody. He's going to have to use his boxing skills, especially when you're not really taking care of yourself. And so I just think it all came to a crescendo, and saying his body just went kaput. Hopefully, saying he's in better shape. He looks like he's in shape, but we don't know what kind of residual effects that Crawford fight had. Not just the Crawford fight, but everything he went through. That's why I think Crawford always wait. On the outside, he always wait. To strategically. To let fighters go through the gauntlet, get them on the other side, but that's just what I think, that's just pretty much what I think, so I think so Spence fight's going to be good. I think people are going to be anticipating that. What other fights we got coming up? Let me see. I was disappointed by the Top Rank card. I'm just tell you that right now. I was disappointed. I thought Shushu almost got destroyed last night. And we was bragging on him. That was the embarrassing part. We were sitting there like Shushu is a fighter's fighter, what I'm saying? And we were saying how great he was. And this motherfucker got at as soon as we were saying that, he got hit in the stomach by 50 times, almost killed over. I was like, what is going on? What is happening here? And he's talking about he's calling out Inoue. I say, bro, Inoue would destroy you, bro. Inoue would destroy you. You know what I'm saying? Coming in there with that stuff. He says, Albert Bell is 6 foot campaign at 135. So I think he needs to move up to 140 or 147. Yeah, but you're right about that. But do you see his body frame? He's built like Fundora. He's like, I was kind of comparing him. I was kind of comparing him to Fundora last night. I say he's like a Fundora down at 135. What's going on, Jay, in the building? What's happening? he's kind of built like a fedora, you know. I said, man, you know, and you saw how many problems he gave Abdullah Mason. You know, yeah, maybe he should give it a shot. You know, um, he should go up there, because right now there's a lot of 140 pounders that's not really panning out like Matisse. I was so excited about Matisse, and now it come to find out he's been on drugs. He's been on steroids and stuff like that. You know, we got to really watch it, man. It's like, because these people don't be who we think they are. I thought Matisse was the ultimate warrior, bro. You know what I'm saying? Even though, I mean, his skill set, you know, he's just a pressure fighter. But I like that. I like that Felix Trinidad type of attitude where, you know, let's go, let's fight, that warrior shit. You know what I'm saying? And I thought Matisse had that, and come to find out, he got other things going on. You know, that 140 division, it's kind of topsy-turvy. You know what I'm saying? Gary Antoine Russell should be doing a whole lot more. You know, now Keyshawn is, you know, he just left 140 to go to 147. Who did he really fight at 140 like that? You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I don't know, man. It's just a little bit confusing. People just popping in, fighting a couple of fights and popping out, you know. Not really, you know, saying going for the belts or anything like that, not trying to unify. I don't think the fighters really care about the belts that much, you know. And you got Zuffa Boxing, you know what I'm saying? I think a lot of these fighters are just trying to get a contract with Zuffa Boxing. And a lot of these fighters just don't want to take an L because they want to get a nice little, you know, package deal from Zuffa, you know. Because it seems like on the sanctioning body side, that is dying, right? So the best thing to do is go to like a company like Zuffa and make you a big chunk of money. That's what it's looking like. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Jay, in the building, bro? Bro, look here, boy. I was tired as hell last night. You know, once again, I came on a little too early with the prelims, but I wanted to see what Shushu looked like. I wanted to see what Shushu looked like. I thought Shushu was going to put on the show. I wanted to see Tiger Johnson, and both of them let me down. Both of them let me down, you know. Now I see why they are where they are, you know, especially that Tiger Johnson. He's a big letdown. Just an emotional wreck. Just emotional wreck, you know. So some of these guys need fathers in their lives. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of them just seem like they just act so feminine to me. You know, they can't regulate their emotions, you know. They asked them about Devin Haney. Man, don't talk to me about that guy. And, you know, it's just like, bro, what is wrong with you? It's like, bro, that dude don't know you. That dude don't care about you. You know what I'm saying? You went up to that little brother talking shit, and you got balloon. You know, let me tell you, young people, something. If you talk shit to people, you know, back in the day, they would punch you in the face. That what was going to happen to you. You know, if you disrespectful and you big mouth, you know what I'm saying, and you saying disrespectful things, people are going to punch you in the mouth. And they don't care, especially the old school guys. You got a lot of old guys, they don't care, bro. If you're disrespectful, they're going to punch you in the mouth. I know a lot of young people that this is surprising to a lot of young people, you know. If you go up there talking shit, you know what I'm saying, they're not going to sit there and pull their pants up. No, they're going to try to beat your ass right there, you know. So I'm just surprised that a lot of young people just got this audacity to where they're willing to talk shit to older people. You know what I'm saying? Older people used to talk, well, we talk shit, but we fit to fight. You know what I'm saying? We're not fit to shoot. We don't have no guns. Well, we got guns, but that's not our first inclination. So, you know, don't let them guns, you know what I'm saying, make you make that final decision. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to talk shit, don't talk shit with a gun. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to end up in prison for the rest of your life. I see a lot of, you know, you can go on social media and you see a lot of these young guys, you know, they get puffed up. They be like 120 pounds. And you can see the gun just hanging out of their sweatpants. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, bro, it's like, you know, and then they walking around trying to get into shit, which is illegal, right? If you got a weapon, you can't provoke no fights. You know, you got to, you know, Yeah, the only way you can pull it is to stand in your ground. Of course, you got thugs out there. So I'm just saying all that to say this social media stuff got people out of their minds. You're coming on X and you're saying anything, and it's like when somebody see you, what I'm saying, when somebody out there, and you're just wondering why you get hit in the back of the head, and what I'm saying, it just doesn't cross your mind that you were disrespectful to that person. That's all I'm saying. And then the women, of course, that's a whole nother situation, y'all. You know. But let me see, what other fights can we cover, man? This was a good one with Anthony Mason. So I didn't get much pushback, about the stoppage. I think there's a large consensus that, it just is what it is, that Top Rank, they like really cover their own. I don't think Bill was if Bob Aaron had to come up there and beat the fuck out of himself, I don't think they was going to allow Albert Bill to beat Abdullah Mason, or if they did, they was going to run it back. You see what I'm saying? They were going to. I'm pretty sure there had to be a rematch clause in there somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Just to be safe. But I think it was a good fight for Abdullah Mason. I'm looking forward to big things. He got his family around him. He got his superpower. That's his superpower. His brothers around him. That was a beautiful thing to see. See a young guy, have his family around him and support him. Abdullah Mason family, the Mason family is like the new Jackson 5, even though it looked like it's like 20 of them. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's a beautiful thing. But what else? What else we got going on? Let me see. What else we got going on? Well, I was just talking about, I was surprised that David Morrell, I don't know how he went down so fast, because everybody was so high on David Morrell Jr. That was the surprise. That was the surprise to me, to see how fast he went down. He got his ass beat like he had no athletic ability, like he was totally predictable. I think he just stopped working on his craft, to tell you the truth. He says, I would love to see Mason brothers against the Davis brothers. I know you said that last night. Hey, I don't think they want them problems, bro. Hey, tell you the truth, Raymond, I don't think they want them problems, bro. Them Mason boys look like they all about that life. They look like they all about that business, bro. Don't they got like a new gym that they opened up or something like that? Look like I seen a video last night. So I went to sleep on it. Looked like they were opening a new gym. He said that fight was suspect. He said it looked very like they was trying to promote that live scoring. That's a good perspective. What's going on, Mike? What's happening? Just talking about the way the fight ended. It ain't really much you can do about it right now today, but you don't want to taint the young man victory. Yeah, you don't, I just think that he's going to go a long way. You know what I'm saying? I'm just worried about his future at Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? It's, right now, saying he can get some good fights to really push his name up to the top. But man, I don't want him to stay over there too long. Saying Top Rank can also stifle, your ability to grow like it did Bud for so many years. And people blame the PBC for that. Saying no, Bud could have signed with the PBC. And they just ignore that shit. Like, even though it worked out for him in the end, but we got to stop. We got to stop. These guys, Floyd Mayweather left Top Rank. Miguel Cotto left Top Rank. It was more, I can't remember, that left Top Rank. To become superstars, right? I think Mason will be the same way. Hopefully he don't spend his whole entire career over there. Who I think Shakur Stevenson left Top Rank. And it's kind of, the jury's still out. Is he a superstar? The jury's still out. Right now he's moving like he's scared to really commit to something, Good victory by Tio, though. I always knew he could beat Tio. I thought maybe that Shakur would be that one that could beat everybody, But then he stopped moving in this weird way, and it's just like I had to look at him different. You know, I'm one of them old dudes, like, you know what I'm saying? If I see any, you know, any bitch in you, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't, you know, I don't even want to touch you, bro. Just go and sit on. I want to hear what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Just sign on the dotted line, you know what I'm saying? And get it on, you know. Don't act like a victim, you know. To me, don't act like a victim, you know, because you're a fighter, right? People look up to you because you know, you put it all on the line. That's why people like really follow and mess with these fighters, right? Because we men admire courage, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them exude courage and a lot of them don't. You know what I'm saying? Depends on the situation. You know, I'm looking forward to that Rolly Ramiro fight. You know, he says Morrell has an intellect problem. His head is his problem. Something, you know, because he fell off super fast. He fell off so fast, man. It's crazy. You know, I mean, he didn't do too bad against David. You know, he was able to knock David down, and if he just would have kept working on his craft, you know, I think he would have been all right. He would have been okay. You know, but I mean, I don't know what happened to him. And he was talking a lot of cash shit to David too. I never seen that before. That somebody talk that much shit to David. You know, talking about getting his shoes. He couldn't even getting his shoes taken through. You know, walking through his neighborhood. And I thought that was creative. I said, man, this dude here is like really fired up. And I thought maybe if he had a little bit more experience, that, you know, say he could bounce back. But no, I mean, he went out there and got Malone, bro. I was just like, damn, what happened? What had happened? What happened? I don't know. You know, David just, I don't know. Maybe he got out there into the wine and the women. I don't know. It's a small window for these guys. Can they stay motivated enough to keep their skills up to move to the next level? It's a very difficult lifestyle these fighters got to keep up with. Did y'all see that interview where Shakur was talking about he bar people to get information and intel on them? I just, man, I say this kid, man, Shakur is just, I don't even know what to say about him, bro. You know, man, somebody he needs a PR team. He really do. Tell him to stop talking. You know, stop talking. So, well, Tank, you know, we just got to forget about Tank till he get beyond all his legal problems. This Kid Austin fight, I never thought Kid Austin had a chance to beat Tank. You know, he don't have the boxing IQ to fight Tank. After he get hit hard by Tank, I see him losing all his confidence. You know, and then he can't seem to get into the ring with Shakur Stevens. He can't get into the ring with nobody. So I don't know why everybody, because he got a little bit of power. People think that Kid Austin is, you know, on another level, but the man got to fight. You know what I'm saying? He got to stop getting into these hospital, getting bit by bugs and stuff like that. You know, nobody want to see that, bro. You know, I mean, what, he got allergies or something? I don't know what's wrong with Kid Austin, but if he's gonna fight Tank, you know, he's not gonna beat Tank. He just don't have it like that. I mean, nobody could probably name anybody that Kid Austin, you know, defeated. Nobody can like really name anybody because he hasn't fought nobody like that. So, you know, but he talked a lot of shit though. And then his daddy is like, I don't know, you know, he remind me of those you know, those androgynous 80 R&B singers, wishing like a wishing well, kiss and tell. You know what I'm saying? He just, I ain't going no further with that. You know, he just, you know, he looked like Lenny Kravitz. You know what I'm saying? He looked like, you know, like he might be invited to Diddy parties. You know, he says, man, he says, I usually don't judge fighter off sparring, but he says, damn, that Schofield kid looked bad. He says, Tank will destroy that kid. I think so too. He says, if Mason did him like that, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know, Mason, he's just an aggressive fighter. I don't know how good, because Mason being so aggressive, Tank like to set traps. That's why I say it's good that Mason is getting experience that he's getting, because if he end up fighting Tank, You know what I'm saying? But by the time Tank get ready, he probably been outgrown the division. Because Tank ain't just for to fight anybody. You know, if he fought Mason, I think that would fix Tank up pretty good. You know, if he fought Ray Matala, or if he fought one of those guys, you know that I think it would repair Tank, reputation. But first, I would like to see him fight Lamont Roach. You know what I'm saying? That's if Dev could fight Ryan Garcia and Tank could fight Lamont Roach, man, that would be beautiful. I think boxing would kind of align itself. But right now, it's just kind of off track, and nobody knows what these dudes are doing. And I think that's the most frustrating thing for everybody. We got to keep reiterating fights that we want to see, instead of those fights being made. That's super frustrating. And then you got, fans that are in different camps and stuff for these fighters. So, you're never going to figure it out. You're just a slave to what they want to do, right? And so, and to me, it's like fighting somebody you already know you got more skills than is not a challenge, And I understand these guys want to get paid, they prize fighters, and they don't want to take, some of these guys don't want to take a lot of risks and stuff. I understand that. But at the same time, if you want legacy, you have to go for the legacy, not all the time, but shit, most of the times, put your legacy first, fight the names, I don't think we're going to have a problem with that out of Boots. I don't think we're going to have a problem with that out of Dev. I don't think we're going to have a problem with that out of, a lot of fighters, Shockey Foster. So there's a few fighters out there that's real about it, that, that's left that want to, have a legacy. Then you got the money fighters, So, it is what it is. But that's what I pretty much wanted to come on here. If somebody got something you want to discuss, you know me, I get tired of talking. Anybody want to discuss something? I'm putting the link down. If you want to discuss something. Let's see. He said his dad be talking crazy as fuck for him to fight like that. I mean, he's missing a lot of fundamentals, man. I've seen, for him to have all that power. Kid Austin is so awkward. He's just so awkward, I need to see him fight, in a consistent way, because I've seen like older veterans perplex him. And his defense was terrible. Almost got knocked out, so he just haven't been around long enough for me. I've seen videos of people making, AI, like I think it was like they were old in an old folks home. And I think it was Kid Austin talking to Tank, you still scared to fight? You know what I'm saying? I thought that was funny. I was like, really? I mean, y'all think Kid Austin could put pressure on Tank? Tank done fought way better competition than Kid Austin. So it's just kind of ridiculous, It's just kind of ridiculous. I don't look at them like in the same class, not in the same class, Anything else, hit the link if you want to come up or whatever, I'm saying? I'm just putting it out there because we're about to get up out of here if not, but that's what I wanted to talk about was the fight last night and wrap that up and, have to get out of here early today, Anything else anybody want to discuss? All right. Well, thanks for coming through. I'm going to go get me something to eat. And, we'll see you probably tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow. So we'll come back on tomorrow. And chop it up some more. But peace out, everybody. It's been Pull Kind of Boxing. See you guys in the next one. Thank you, 300, for showing up. I got to give Marine him a wrench. Appreciate you coming through. Howdy. Oh.